I have goosebumps. And it's not because it's cold outside. Because I'm not cold anymore. I was when I walked in the door. But I'm all warm now. I've had an opportunity to hug almost everyone in the room. I have a couple of people to catch up with. So welcome every day. Bless you on the truth already. Come on, welcome every day.
Welcome.
Yeah, that's better.
Thank you.
So what are we talking about today? Well, this month, just as a reminder, we're talking about assumptions and other things we make up, other stories we make up. And today's title is The Other Shoe. Nobody in the room has ever heard anybody say, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yes.
Or said it ourselves, I know for sure. Well, to cut to the chase, you know, when you're waiting for something and you're anticipating something and you're preparing for something, what's likely to happen? The something. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's on our mind. When we're waiting for something and anticipating something and preparing for something, it's on our mind. And son of a gun, if the other shoe doesn't drop. I had an idea when I was preparing. Oh, by the way, I am Reverend Ann Rea, and I am the very blessed and honored and grateful senior minister of this extraordinary community that is my spiritual family, the Everyday Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Thank you very much. How did he say that? Thank you very much. So I was preparing for this talk this morning, and I had this idea about taking my shoe off and dropping it on the floor. And then I thought, well, that'd be really silly because then I'd only have one shoe on. And then I'd have to sit down, and then I'd have to put my shoe back on, and that wouldn't work. But that gave me an idea that had nothing to do with taking my shoes off, but it had everything to do with the literal experience of having one shoe fall. If we only have one shoe on, we're out of balance, right? We're kind of like the kid on the Andy Griffith show. Yeah, exactly. So there we are. We're out of balance. So are we really saying that we need the other shoe to drop so that we'll be in balance?
No.
I don't think so. Because it's been my experience that when one is talking about waiting for the other shoe to fall, they're not waiting for something good. Has that been your experience? Right?
Yes.
They're waiting, they're saying something has already happened that wasn't good, and they're waiting for the next thing to happen that isn't going to be good. So then I go back to waiting, anticipating, and preparation. Because waiting and anticipating and preparation are like rehearsing for a role. It is. It's like rehearsing for a role that we expect to play. And since we are the director of this thing that we call our life, we are, you know. We are the director. We're not just the player. We are the director. Because the one life that is all life that is our life now, it moves through us. It acts for us by moving through us. It isn't pulling any strings, as much as there are times when we would like it to. But that's such an old idea. We don't have that anymore, do we? So, waiting and anticipating and preparing are like, no offense to everything that's going on with the movie Rust in New Mexico right now. It's like loading a gun. Only the gun is us. And we're doing everything that we can think of to get ready for whatever the other shoe falling is going to bring. Now, really, is that how we want to invest our energy?
No.
Well, 5 of you are sure. Is that really how we want to invest our energy?
No.
Right. Right. Does that contribute diddly squat to our quality of life?
No.
One of you is convinced. Zero. When we make investments, we like a return, do we not?
Yes.
Well, I got a big yes on that. When we make investments, we want a return, and we want a good one,
Right.
don't we?
Yes.
Hallelujah. So then why would we make an investment that is guaranteed to bring us something unwanted?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I'm hearing through the room. Huh. Why would we make an investment that is guaranteed to result, to have a return of something unwanted? It makes no sense to me, when, particularly since we have the option of doing the opposite.
Right.
We can choose to make an investment in something that is equally guaranteed to bring us a return of something that is wanted.
Yes.
So, okay, so let's take a closer look at this from the point of view of our philosophy, because, by the way, it isn't just our philosophy that believes everything that I just said to be true. Our philosophy is, by the way, in case you didn't know, an amalgamation of philosophies throughout time that revealed this common thread. And the common thread was that there is one life that is all life. It is the creator, it is the activity of creation, and it is the creation itself. And we are that.
Yes.
That idea did not start with us. And Ernest Holmes would be the first person to say so. What he did was he studied, and he studied, and he studied, and he discovered, and he had conversations, and he realized that throughout civilization, these principles, these universal principles, these spiritual principles were being affirmed. And they were being affirmed by people who were held in high regard by their culture, by their nation, they weren't just held in high regard because they were the exception to the rule. They were the example of the rule. Still with me?
Yes.
So how do we know that there is a guarantee that the return on our investment will be whatever? How do we know that a return is guaranteed?
We create it.
We create it. And I'm not going to put you on the spot, Jackie. Not entirely. But we create it because we're using the principle.
Right.
We're using the principle of circulation. We're using the principle of cause and effect. We're using the principle of life reflecting life in alignment with the nature of life itself. That's how we know. Because if we aren't, if we are making choices, if we are acting in such a way, if we are speaking in such a way that is not in alignment with the nature of life itself, then how do we know? Because we're looking at it. It shows up in our life as a reflection of our choice. That's the guarantee. That's the guarantee. And it doesn't have to be in writing. And it doesn't require years and years and years and years of classwork and study and diplomas and all the rest of that, it requires practice.
Right.
And we've been practicing our entire lives. We just didn't necessarily realize it. Because some of our practicing went pretty well and some of it not so much. But here we all are, new today, brand spanking new today, just as new as we were the day we were born. Woo! And we get a do-over. We get to choose what we focus on, how we focus on it, and what it is that, how that aligns, how that whole process aligns with what we know to be our idea, our individual idea of what the highest vision and version of ourselves is in that moment. The highest, every one of these words is important, so listen. The highest individual idea of the best vision and version of ourselves in that moment. It isn't me who is setting the bar. It's each of us, for ourselves, according to what we can believe in any given moment.
Right.
I want to hang out with that idea for a minute. And Reverend Diana Lee's reading spoke to this, as did the very first song that Joseph led us through, the call and response song. We are how we are and where we are and what we think we are and what we believe we are right now, and maybe something else 5 minutes from now. And I'm not saying that from an external perspective. I'm saying it totally from an internal perspective. We are a match to whatever our idea is, our belief is about ourselves in any given moment. And so is the world. So is the world. Because the eyes that we are seeing the world through, the brain that we are processing the information about the world through, doesn't belong to anybody but us. So we change. Not only are we new every day, we're actually new every minute. And sometimes we're a higher version of new, or a richer version of new, or a happier version of new, or a more awe-filled version of new, and sometimes we're the opposite. And sometimes for a reason, and sometimes for no reason. You know what's really cool, though? Is that this life that is the one life that is all life that's our life, there's no judgment. Because it's all is perfect. Just the way it is and just the way it isn't. It doesn't have our personality. It doesn't have our way of viewing anything with judgment or criticism or separation, because it's all itself. It would be like me looking at my foot, which still has a shoe on, by the way, and saying, oh, well, that I don't know about that. Maybe that needs work. We are invited to be mindful of the stories we make up about what's likely. Who in the world says so? We do. We say what's likely. We say that it's likely that we're going to take our car in to be worked on, and the mechanic is going to tell us some outrageous number that it's going to cost to repair it. We decide that's likely. Because we've gathered all this information, don't you know, that is totally factual. And so, by golly, it's totally likely that that will happen. But what if we said, instead, you know what? I really trust this guy. He's done well by me. Or he's done well by the people who referred him to me. And what I know is that when I go in there to get whatever it is handled, that the price will be fair. And my ability to take care of my financial responsibility in this regard will be no problem. That is another way to look at the same thing. It's another way to look at the same thing. My invitation to all of us is to make up stories this week to our heart's content, but make them new. Look at any situation that's going on in your personal life. Let's just start there. Let's not start with the world. Okay? Because that's, never mind. Let's not start with the world. Let's just start with our own experience. Notice I didn't say anybody else's. Not a family member, not a friend. This is not an opportunity to experiment on somebody else. Our own experience. And let's make up new stories. By golly, if we're going to make up stories, let's make up new ones. Let's make up ones that actually support us. Let's make up stories that make room for other people to support us, other people to encourage us, other people to contribute something meaningful to our lives, and for us to do the same for them. Let's make up new stories. It's so much better than walking around with a shoe off. And waiting for the other one to fall. That doesn't even make sense. Do you know that? It doesn't even make sense. But your stories don't have to make sense either. Oh. Your stories don't have to make sense. Your stories, the new ones that you're going to be making up this week, they just need to have an outcome that uplifts you, that nourishes you, that makes your life better, that makes the life of other people better through you, not separately, because there is no separation. Your good is my good, and my good is your good. But they don't have to make sense. And somebody might say to you, if you told them what you were doing, someone might say to you, well, why in the world would you even think that was possible? And you can say to them, I don't know. I just have a feeling. I just have a feeling. So I'm following my feeling. Diana Lee's reading spoke a lot about honoring our feelings. Let's have some good ones. The other ones, if we have them, will be there anyway. It's like dishes in the sink that wait for you to do them. They're going to wait.